Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Trademark Sports Podcast. Football is a day away when you're watching this, listening to this. How exciting. Let's go. Let's go. But so today's episode, we're going to run over a preview of the top four from last season, talk a little bit of footy about like tips for this weekend and our predictions for the upcoming season. But before we get into it, we do have to promote our tipping competition that we are doing. So over on ESPN Footy Tips, we are partnering with Bluebet to give you guys the chance to win $200 to take on us in a tipping competition. Winner takes all, free entry. There's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't do it. But remember, if you are going to have a punt this year, do it with Bluebet, the true blue Aussie bookie, and make sure that you gamble responsibly as always. So, Dano, how are you?
Mate, fantastic. Footy is very close, and I'm here for it. I'm excited. How are
That's
you?
it. Mate, I'll tell you what, up until yesterday, very sore. Obviously, played the charity
Yeah.
match on the weekend, and look, I didn't do that much, but I hadn't played contact sport in 5 years, so I was a sore puppy on Sunday.
Killed it. Killed it, bro.
Well, I mean, if you read the comment section of my TikTok, oh Jesus Christ, so to go there and be Jonathan Thurston or something, it's ridiculous.
Jonathan Thurston, I've seen him not kick the ball out and a kick for touch too. So,
Hey, it went out. It just went 15 meters backwards. All right.
so you were better than Jonathan Thurston, is what you're saying.
Well, nah. Well, look, the wind picked up with that kick. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so. Did you have a chance to look at the team lists that have come out today at 4:00, mate? Obviously,
I've had a look at a few of them. I saw the Dolphins one.
yeah. What'd you think of that?
Oh, I thought it looked good. Yeah, I thought they named that they named Katoa
Yeah,
at 6 rather than Milford, which is,
I
it's
think it's a
exciting.
good call.
Yeah. Milford's getting on in age. We'll see how he goes. I saw
Like,
the video as well where he rang his parents.
yeah. How heartwarming's that?
As we've said before, the Dolphins' social media stuff is off its head. It's so good. So
Yeah.
they've done really well with that. Yeah, that's kind of the only one I looked at. I've been a little bit busy, but yeah.
I check a look over the Knights one. Greg Marju's left out, which I was sort of like, I guess like Heimel Hunt's probably better defensively, so you can excuse you see why. But it's just little things like Kurt Mann being there, Locke. It's like, why didn't you have just letting Connor Watson go still to this day is something that just baffles me. Couple inclusions I saw that I'm quite happy about. The Warriors, Jackson Ford is starting second row. So
Is he?
yes, huge congratulations to him. So he's starting over Josh Curran. So he's obviously impressing over there. So
That's a big call. What, Josh Curran, is he off the bench? Is he?
yes, he's in the 16, and that's against the Knights. That's a game that I'll definitely be keen to watch Friday night.
Yeah. Looking at that right now. Yeah, okay. So Jacko must have trained well over the off season then.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that you can never knock about him. He's always one of the hardest workers around. So he's obviously just he's got a coach that actually has some faith in him this time. So it's good to see.
Yes, I'm just looking at the Knights team list here. I'm a little bit confused. So they've named Kurtman at lock. Is there a point of naming Phoenix Crossland in the 14? If you're already going to have Kurtman at lock, would you not be better off having another forward that you can bring on into sort of that third middle and let Kurtman play more of a ball playing role? I don't really understand the idea of Phoenix Crossland.
I guess, but it's probably insight to the fact that Jaden Bradley probably won't play 80 minutes because the way the game is played now is so intense and so fast, especially for the hookers, because they've got to do so much work. It's probably Phoenix Crossland might come on and play some 9. I think that's probably the thinking there.
Okay, yep. Didn't think about that. It's a good thing.
But even still, surely there's someone better to come in at 9 than Phoenix Crossland.
Yeah.
But I guess the versatility aspect is that he could play 13 and in the halves if Ponga or Jacko go down. So that's why you have him there, carry him there. But so if you're happy to, let's get into the team previews for the top 4 from last season.
Oh, I'm very happy to, mate. Very happy.
All right. So one of the most talked about clubs over this offseason is the Parramatta Eels. Their gains, they have brought in Josh Hodgson, Jermaine Hopgood, who I'm so excited to watch him play this weekend. Momaseya from the Knights, Jack Murchie, and Matt Dory. Their losses are some pretty big ones. So Niokore, Papali'i, Ray Stone, Oregon Kafusi, Reed Marnie, Hayes Perm, and Tom Opachich. So a lot of roster turnover there.
Big losses there.
And even guys I think Tom Opachich is probably actually an underrated loss because he's so good defensively for them. I think
100%.
he doesn't get all the praise and the hype as a lot of outside backs in the comp, but I think come September time, like depending how the Eels are going, they might see that as like, look, we definitely could have used him this year, like, even just for squad depth.
Yeah, no, definitely. Opacek, he will be missed, but I think their main loss there is Reid Marnie.
Oh, of
Obviously,
course.
he was their little general guiding them around the middle of the field, and that's a massive loss. And sort of Hodgson being the age that he is and coming off not playing footy for pretty much a year, uh, I've got faith in him. That it's just it'll be interesting to see how he goes. Hopefully, he's not past it. Hopefully he does something for him. But I can't see him reaching the heights that they did last year at this point with all their losses.
Yeah, that's obviously one of the main concerns. Like with the Eels is like how Josh Hodgson's going to go. He didn't look crash hot in that first trial they played. I didn't get to watch their second trial. But it's like he's 32 coming off an ACL. Like a year off footy, no matter what, like your age is going to be tough to come back. But let alone 32, like you're naturally declining anyway. I think like his footy smarts are obviously still there, and he's like IQ is so good that he'll be one step ahead of the competition. But it's just whether his legs can get him to where he wants to be.
Yeah,
And just like how intense the game is now in that middle, especially like Para's got such a big fallback that every team's going to muscle up and really give it to him. So can he handle the heat, I suppose, is my question.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. Another big loss, Nick Corey. He was very good for the Kiwis
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
in their World Cup. So I really rate him as a player. I think he's good. So he'll be a big loss for him as well, in my opinion.
I agree. And I think one of the things like I'm looking at just their losses here is that they've lost a lot of depth. So Niokore can cover multiple positions, really good for depth. Ray Stone,
Lock,
exactly
back
the
row.
same.
Yeah.
Oregon Kafusi, a really good backup forward. So, like, yes, they've lost some stars and some big names in Papali'i and Marnie, but there's like just the squad in general have lost like a fair bit of depth. Like they've brought in guys like Jermaine Hopgood and Jack Murchie can like Jermaine Hopgood can play second row and lock, and so can like Jack Murchie play a bit of middle
I,
forward
I
and an
like
edge
Jack
role.
Murchie.
But
Jack Murchie's good.
yeah, so do I. I think he'll like actually do really quite well in the Eel system. But it's just I don't know. There's a lot of turnover, and like the depth obviously doesn't look as good as last year. Obviously, like they could come out and prove us wrong and make it to the grand final. Like that's the nature of the comp and like the Eels at the moment. Like they'll be hungry. There's no doubt about that. They'll be hungry to like come out and prove everyone wrong from last season. Especially like because everyone's writing him off, and I suppose we've both said it that the premiership window is shutting for them. So
Oh, I think it's unless they pull something surprising out, it's almost closed.
yeah, exactly. And that's what like one of my questions for them is like, can they be premiership contenders again? Like obviously they're going to be competitive and probably whoop our teams when they come up against them, but are they going to be one of those guys that they're, I suppose, flat track bullies, as Ryan Girdle likes to call Manly? Like, are they going to come out and pump the bottom 8 teams and then struggle against the top 4, or are they still going to be competitive? That's like I have to wait and see. They've got the Storm on Thursday night, and they've got some of their big names out. So like what Ryan Madison's out, Sean Lane's not playing, but
Right. Madison's suspended, isn't he?
yes, because he didn't cop a $4,000 fine.
Mm.
Anyway, less about that the better. So yeah, like the Storm though, like they are vulnerable in there for the taking. They've got a lot of players out too, so we'll have to wait and see how they go and how Hodgson gels with the halves playing with them for the first time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
So where do you have them finishing this season?
Parramatta, I have them finishing 5th or 6th, I'd say.
Yeah, I have them in the exact same spot. I think like it's quite a reasonable thing, and like I wouldn't be surprised if they move up a couple of spots from that or go down a couple of spots. I think like it's they're definitely a top 8 team for me.
Yeah, 100%. I can see them staying in the top 8. It's just whether they're in the top half or bottom half of the top 8. We shall have to wait and see.
Yeah, I honestly think it's a rubbish call. All these people saying they won't make the top 8 because they've lost a couple of players. Like, there's no way. They've got a system there. They're not the Dragons where if you take Ben Hunt out of them, they're not going to win a game. We'll move on to
they're lucky to win one with Ben Hunt.
Yeah, exactly right. Which is why I think we shouldn't have re-signed him and should be paying $1 million a year. Anyway, this isn't a Dragons podcast. This one. We'll move on to the Cowboys. Their games, they've brought in James Timeout and Jack Kajeski, and they've lost Tom Gilbert, Lemelu.
That Connelly Lemu.
Yes, that is the one. And the Hammer are pretty much their big losses, and they've all gone to the Dolphins. What do you think about the Cowboys for this season? Are you hyped for them? Like, do you reckon they'll drop back or what?
Oh shit, yeah. I'm very hyped for the Cowboys. Last year I had them when I did a ladder prediction at the start of last year, I had him dead last, and I thought, I was pretty confident in that. I thought they got nothing going on, and somehow they just pulled something out of nothing. And they were one of my favorite teams to watch last year. I don't think they've lost too much, and I think James Tarmo will actually. I know he's old and he's getting on, and at the Tigers he did nothing, but I think back at North Queensland where he played his best footy, he will really do well there, if not on the field, off the field, guiding those young blokes. And then we've talked about before how they've got that combination of freakish strike talent with calm, intelligent older blokes. And I think it really add well to that latter category. And I think he will bring a lot. And I'm really excited to see how they go this year. And I think they can do just as well, if not better, than they did last year, in my opinion.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like one of the things with like Tom Gilbert and Hammer going there, like they're really good impact players off the bench, and losing them is a bit different. But then with Tamo there, like he could, like, I don't know, like Riley Price, Steve Price's young bloke is coming through the ranks, and he's a freak. They've also got a couple other good forwards there. So James Tamo being a mentor for them, like that's going to be really good. Like he's a guy who has played Origin for Australia. Like he's done everything in the game. He's won comps. Yes, he has.
He won a comp with
The Cowboys.
15. Yeah.
But the thing is though, like you did sell the Cowboys quite well there, because now I'm just second guessing whether I should say what I was going to say, but I feel like they're a little bit of fool's gold. They did have a very soft draw last season, and like I don't know, I'm just, for some reason, I don't know why, but I don't think they're going to be able to back it up this year. They've had another massive, huge, like ridiculous preseason, army camps, and I guess like it's a long season. They're fit, it's their job, but I feel like their preseason planning and everything, like I don't think they expected to make a prelim final last year. I think they played for too long. They're going to have a bit of fatigue come the end of the year, and I reckon it'll show them drop off. I think they're still going to be a great team, top 8 for sure. Their roster's too good, but I don't know. I'm not as hyped as a lot of people are for the Cowboys this year.
Okay. All right. Well, you hate the Cowboys. That's fine.
Well, like one of the concerns, like they've had minimal like roster turnover, and I get like it can be a good thing, and like I'm gonna contradict myself and talk about the next team, but so it's like it can be good, just run it back, get the same thing, or it can be bad. Like it's sort of, you need that little injection of like someone coming in and like layering the boys up, which I guess James Tomo probably could, but I mean you got like exciting players with personality, like the Hammer leaving. I don't know. I'm just a little bit worried about the Cowboys.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not as worried about him as you are. I don't think they used the Hammer that much last year. Obviously, I'm not putting anything on the Hammer. He's a very talented player, but I think he, you got Drinkwater there who was absolutely killed it last year, and I don't think they lose too much from losing the Hammer. Obviously, last year wasn't his best year, so I'm not too worried about them, about their losses. Yeah, as I said before, I think they'll do well.
That's it. Like one thing that I'm thinking though about their team. So Tommy Dearden, Drinkwater, Penty Valahones, Peter Hiku, Ruben Cotter, Reece Robson. These guys all, I suppose, like 3 of those names I just said are quite young, but they've all had career years. Can they come back and do that again? That's like, I think that's my worry. It's like everyone played probably the best footy they can. Are they going to be able to do that again? That's I don't know.
I think they can. In my opinion, they can. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too optimistic.
I think I'm just being a bit negative, if anything. I think like your opinion is the common consensus. I think I'm just looking at it a bit like glass half empty, you're half full.
Yeah, I'm sure the truth will find itself somewhere in the middle. The result.
So where do you think they'll finish this year?
I can see them top 5. I don't know if they'll be top 4, but I think they can finish 5th.
Yeah, that's it. I've got them like 3rd to 6th, around that mid range of the top 8. I still, like as I said, like I've just bashed them, but I still think they're going to be a top quality side, and like they're a lot better than 60% of the teams in the comp. So that's why I've got them around there.
Yeah. Good call.
We'll move over to the Sharkies. Their main signing is Oregon Kafusi. They've also brought in Max Bradbury as part of that swap deal with Lachlan Miller and Daniel Atkinson, who impressed in the trials. Their losses are Andrew Fafita and Aiden Tolman, so like a fair bit of experience there. Lockie Miller, as I just mentioned, Franklin Pele and Luke Metcalf. What do you reckon about the Sharkies this year?
I'm excited about the Sharks. These are the team I think can do really well again. Obviously, they did very well last year, better than I expected them to. I'm sure better than a lot of people expected them to. Um, I don't think they went as well as they could have last year. Obviously, they went very well, but I think they could have done better. So I think this year will really be their year to shine. And I reckon they're genuine premiership contenders this year.
I agree. The only thing that I have is like, could they potentially have a bit of second year syndrome? We see a bit in the NRL. Like, obviously, their roster is incredible, and like, but Craig Fitzgibbon's secondary coaching is everyone bought in last year because it was all new and like all fancy and new. Can he get the squad to do the same thing this year? Nico Hines secondary halfback. Like, there's going to be a lot of film done on Nico Hines in the offseason, but every single team, can he still have the same impact as like other players? I think they will. And it's funny. So I actually think for the Sharks, the lack of roster turnover is a good thing because they've got players who, like Nico Hines, it was his first year of like full NRL season in halfback. Chad Townsend's been playing halfback in the NRL for 10 years. Like, I think, like, and then again, there's like a lot of new faces that are like more familiar with each other now. I think as well. So I'm going to go back and talk about Tom Gilbert and the Hammer. They got a lot more minutes than guys for me, like than looking at Andrew Fafita and Aiden Tolman. So it's not that big of a loss. Oregon Kafusi comes in and just takes those minutes straight away. I just and like that Jesse Colquhoun as well, really good young player, and Tom Hazelton as well. Like, so, like there's all those minutes gobbled up straight away, and everything else is pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah, I agree. Going back to what you said about the second year syndrome, I don't think that they will. I think they're a team that are on the up and they will get better again. Kind of like Penrith did, going from what was it, from 20 into 21.
Yeah,
like they did. Well, they won and 2 in 20, and like the Sharks, the last time they won a comp in 14.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, 14 because 15 the Cowboys won. Yeah, 14.
No, they won. They won it in 16.
Yes, 14.
Rabbitohs.
Rabbitohs won it. Souths won it. Yeah, correct. Yeah, 16. Because in 2015 they did well, but didn't quite get where they wanted to, and then they were better again in 16. And I feel like they'll do exactly the same thing this year. Or yeah, that's my opinion anyway. That's what I reckon.
So it's the only thing is like, and again, like I don't know what I apologize for the negativity from myself with this episode, but
yeah, what's your fucking problem?
No idea. Bit of a pessimist today, but so Matt Moylan was injury free last season, which is good, and he's probably got his confidence up. A bit like Kieran Foran getting through a year injury free, then he'll probably actually be able to play his best footy this season because he feels confident in his body. But he does have a pretty bad injury history. Does that shake things up again? I suppose Braden Trindle, who's playing 7 for them this weekend because Nico Hines is out. I suppose he can come in and like do a job. Connor Tracy, they'll be fine.
They will be fine. You're being very pessimistic, Tyson. Very, very negative, bro. Just like cut it out.
Okay, well, I'm about to just blow smoke up these guys' asses then. The Penrith Panthers, their gains are... Oh, actually, sorry, before we get into that, where are the Sharks finishing?
Top 4.
Yeah, agreed. So, Penrith Panthers, their gains: Luke Garner, Tyrone Peachy, and Zach Hoskins. Losses of Coruscant, Kikau, Isaiah Katoa, and Charlie Staines and Sean O'Sullivan. How do you reckon they'll fare? Like, obviously, they've probably still got the best squad in the comp. How do you reckon they'll fare with life after Api Coruscant?
I think they do go down a little bit. I can't see them winning the comp again this year.
Who's the pessimist now?
Definitely. I can't see them doing a three-peat. I think they've been on top for a while. And I think, as much as I'll try not to, I think a little bit of the hunger, when you've been that good for so long, a little bit of the hunger goes away. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying, but I disagree.
Okay.
So why? I think because, the last team to do a three-peat, their biggest rivals, the blokes they hate the most, Parramatta Eels. If they can, the one thing that the Parra are clinging on to, knock that off. It's also Stephen Crichton, who's like best friends with half their team, Spencer Leniu, and probably maybe 1 or 2 players last season at Penrith. So they're going to want to send them out in a high. I think that's going to encourage them and buoy them. I know what you're saying. Like it'd be hard enough for a team to get up for 2 years in a row. 3 years in a row is a huge ask.
But as they say, the wolf climbing the mountain is hungrier than the wolf at the top of the mountain, and they've been right for a while.
exactly right. And I just think I don't know. There's something different about this Panthers team, and I don't know whether it's because I've been watching the documentary that's out on Nine at the moment, and I'm just like, wow, but like just literally blown away with how good that organization is. But
Yep.
I don't know. I'm really high on the Panthers. I still think like I'm predicting they finish the top four with comfort. What about you?
Oh, as am I. Yeah, I don't think they'll slip that far. I think they'll still maybe even top. They could potentially. I think second. I'd say. I don't know if they get more in a premiership. They
Yeah.
could. Not
Oh,
out
of
of
course
the
they could.
possibilities. I can't see them winning the comp, but I can see them going very close again.
Yeah,
So yeah, top
yeah,
four, top three, even.
yeah. I'm exactly the same. And we like as you just touched on. I suppose we just talk about like premiers, minor premiers. I reckon we move on to our season predictions now.
Yep.
So we're gonna like predict who we think the minor premiers, wooden spooners, Dalian, and the top try scorer. So if you want to go ahead with your minor premiers first and let everyone know who you think's gonna take out the what is it, JJ Gildem Shield or something like that.
Minor premiers, Roosters.
Agreed.
Yes. Oh well, there you go. Oh, can I pick someone else? No.
No.
Yeah, no, Roosters. Yeah, I think. Yeah, their squad's too good. Their system's too good. They haven't tasted victory in a couple of years. I think they'll be keen to get back
Hmm.
there. Know the right place to do it. It's the right time. Yeah, Roosters.
I think one of the things, reasons I've also got the Roosters is over the Origin period. Look, Luke Keary and Sam Walker, there's a possibility they play. I highly doubt they play Origin, whereas Luai and Cleary pretty much nailed on. So I think like the halves are your crux of your team, like your real like
They
it's
lose
like,
Teddy though, and Teddy, you can argue in that team is as important, if not more, than the halves.
but Joseph Manu just goes back there.
Good point. And Joseph Manu is a freak of nature.
He's probably a top five fullback if he played there full time. Like it's so
For top five in three positions, he would be.
yeah, exactly. And I just think they've just got too much depth, and whoever comes up against them in those bye rounds, Origin weeks, it's still just get blown off the park. And they probably still will by Panthers, but we've seen in previous seasons they're a little bit vulnerable around that time. So whereas the
Yeah.
Roosters, you don't really see that. So I just think over the course of the season, the Roosters will get more wins than the Panthers.
They'll still have Brandon Smith too. They won't lose him either to Origin.
Exactly. So do you think though that Roosters can do the minor premiership double? Who is your premier? Who's your prediction for to win the comp?
Prediction to win the comp. Oh, I think they can. I think the Roosters can. Yeah.
Yeah, is that who you got as your premiers?
Yes, it is.
Yep. So I, as I just sort of said, I got the Panthers.
You reckon they're going to do the three-peat?
Yeah, and I think like while I think the Roosters will have the best home and away record over the 27 rounds, I still think Penrith can and probably will beat any team on their day.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
Like,
I just think it's too much to ask. Three in a row, I don't think it can happen in the modern game.
and that's like exactly like it's not definitely not a bad way to look at it. Like it has, as you said, it hasn't been done since the 80s. It has been done for 40 years.
Yeah.
So if they can do it, it's a ridiculous feat. Anyway, we'll go down to the other end of the table where our teams are likely to be. Who are your wooden spooners, mate?
Oh, you're not going to like this. St. George Illawarra Dragons. Down the bottom. Yes, very, very down the bottom, and it's not even close.
Yeah, it's okay. I've got them down there too. I think they're just anything that could go wrong did go wrong this off season.
Yeah.
The one thing that hasn't gone wrong is Ben Hunt getting injured, which probably will happen.
And I think Hook's gone.
Oh yeah,
by round 10. Hook's gone.
I like did a prediction
Yeah.
post the other day, and I said he's gonna be out there by round 5. I think he's already one foot's already out the door.
Mm.
Like if we come out that first game against the Titans and you get demolished, that could be it. That could just be like that was abysmal. See you later.
Yeah.
As well, Ben Hunt played his like best year of footy last year. I don't think he can replicate that. I think and
Yeah,
just,
he's getting on age now, isn't he?
and yeah, he is, and just the mental fatigue factor of it all too. I can't imagine him wanting to rock up and play with like a bunch of blokes who don't care as much as he does.
I heard the Hello Sport podcast boys
Oh
talking.
yes, that was such a good analogy.
Oh, so and they said it's like you're a brickies labourer and you're carting bricks around. There's meant to be 17 blokes carting them around, and you're the only one doing it. You wake up every morning going, "Fuck, I don't want to cart these bricks around. I've got to because none of these other pricks can cart around as many bricks as good as I can. Now I've just got to get up and smash myself and cart these bricks around. It's
Yeah.
so true what they said.
Literally. I was like, you literally couldn't have said it any better. It was so well done.
Yeah, definitely.
So, who is your Dally M medalist for the 2023 season?
Dahlia medalist. I think Nathan Cleary.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think as well, one of the things I think, like, yes, it's not like, I suppose it sort of is a media based award because the commentators and that sort of thing pick it, but I think it's going to be really driven by the media this year. Oh, like, he's one of the big game's best players, one of the best halfbacks to ever do it, but he hasn't won a Dally M. He hasn't won this, hasn't done that. So I think if he comes out, like, most weeks Penrith will win. I think most weeks he'll get the 3 points this year because he'll have more of a spotlight put on him. And I also think this year he excels in Origin too. I think
Well, he almost won it this year, didn't he? And it's just because they reckon he was very close, and he played however many less games than Nico Hines because he got suspended.
yeah, that's it. Like if he doesn't get injured or suspended this year, I'd honestly think like for me, the three front runners I've got Latrell Mitchell, James Tedesco, and Nathan Cleary. And I think
Great New South Wales team. Love it.
yeah, exactly right.
Love it.
So yeah, for me, like Nathan Cleary as well. Who have you got as your top try scorer for the year?
AJ, Alex Johnson. I think it's good again.
So it's like it's a boring pick, but it's the obvious pick. Like he's just parked himself on that left edge. He's I think 24 tries away from Billy Slater's record. Like
He does nothing all game except score tries. Like
yeah. Well, actually, no, I think he's 14 away. Like I reckon by the end of the year, he's the second highest try scorer of all time.
Who's the highest?
Ken Irvine on 212. Alex Johnson has 166.
Yeah, okay.
And he's like
How old
28.
28. So we could still have another few. He can have another 5 years in him.
Because his body doesn't get bashed either. I think he's still got at
He
least
does
4 years.
nothing.
Yeah.
When's the last time he had a hit up in the back? That's why he doesn't get picked for Origin or anything. Like people,
Yeah.
why don't they? Because all he does is fucking score tries. He probably makes like no disrespect at all to Alex Johnson. He does what he needs to do in those games, and it's not like they miss anything. He does not have the tough carries out of yardage. He just parks himself there and goes, "Thank you, I'll score tries for you." And that's what he does, and he does it very well.
Oh, best in the business. And I love the fact like he's so self-aware of it. Like he makes there's a TikTok he's got. It's got like 1 million views. And it's him just being like, oh, whenever I have to like take a hit up, coming off the ruck, he's like, oh, like, get me out of there.
That's 100% he's self-aware. I love that he's self-aware, but he doesn't give a shit. But no one cares because he doesn't need to. When you can score that many tries, you don't need to have hard runs out of yardage. Like
no way.
Yeah, he knows what he's good at and he sticks to it.
Exactly, and I think like he's making a pretty good living off parking himself on a wing and being quick.
Oh, when he's done, his body is going to be sweet. He's not going to be like these NRL players who need to have 20 surgeries when they retire just so they can walk around.
Yeah.
Fresh as a daisy. He'll be one of them blokes like Cliffy Lyons who's still playing now.
Yeah.
60. He'll go back and play in the bush and he'll be 45 captain coaching some team out freaking whoop somewhere.
That's
and
it.
Still scoring like 30 tries.
Yeah. So as we said at the start of the podcast, football is back this week. The round 1 fixtures are Eels versus Storm, Warriors versus Knights, Panthers versus Broncos, Manly versus Dogs, Cows Raiders, Sharks Rabbitohs, Dolphins Roosters, Tigers Titans, and the Dragons have the bye. We'll start from the top. Eels Storm, who do you got?
Storms.
Mm-hmm. Any particular reason
close.
why?
It'll be very close, but I think the Storms are just a little bit more professional. The Eels might take a bit more to gel with the loss of Reid Marnie. I just think the Storms gets it done. Where are they playing at? Is it Amy Park or is it Bankwest?
No, it is CommBank Stadium.
Ooh. Okay.
So I'm going to go against you. I'm going to take the Eels. I think.
Now I'm thinking maybe I don't know.
Like it's a flip of a coin, but like the Storm haven't lost a round 1 game since 2001, which definitely goes in their favor. But it got a couple of players out, like Nick Meaney at fullback is actually probably better than him. Like I don't know, better than sticking another guy in there. But like they got like heaps of their backlines out. They've already had a fair few forward injuries, but then as we said before, Eels have a few players out this weekend. I don't know. First game of the year at Bankwest, Eels have a chip on their shoulder. I reckon they get the win. So Warriors versus Knights. I think we all know how this one's going to go. You biased Knights fan.
My heart is telling me the Knights. My head, unfortunately, He's telling me the Warriors, and as they say, when you bet, always bet with your heart, always never your head. So the Knights win by 80. Uh, I think the Warriors win. I think they do it by a little. Did you say Mount Smart they're playing at?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Warriors, and I reckon 13 plus.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Warriors win. I don't know about 13 plus, but I do think they get the win.
Well, I don't think it's gonna be massive, but I can see them winning by somewhere between 13 and 20 points.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, especially that over in New Zealand, first game of the year. It's a bit tough for the Knights, like it's a different time zone, all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Moving on to probably I suppose Eel Storm's big, like a blockbuster, but Panthers versus Broncos is going to be another pretty big game. Jerome Luai and Selwyn Cobbo having a bit of chirp there. Who do you reckon gets the win over it? It's at Bluebet Stadium out in Penrith too. So
Daddy gets the win. Penrith get the win, I'd say.
I agree. Selwyn Cobbo at fullback, I'm interested to see how he goes. But yeah, I think Penrith and Penrith, they're just pretty much unbeatable. They get the win, probably quite comfortably too.
Yeah.
So move on to Saturday's games. Manly versus the Dogs. Who do you reckon? That's a good game. Who do you reckon is going to win that one?
Like I said, I think the Dogs. I think the Dogs will win that. I think they'll come out all guns blazing. Where are they playing at? Are they at Brookie or are they?
It's at Brookie.
It's at Brookie. Yeah, I can still see the Dogs winning.
See, this is another game that's 50-50 for me. I've got Manly just. I think Turbo being back there, they look good in the trials. There's new life at the club. There is at the Dogs as well. So both teams would be very keen to go out there and prove themselves. It's gonna be, I reckon it's gonna be a ripper of a game. But yeah, I'm gonna tip Manly for this one.
Yeah.
Cowboys versus Raiders. It's up at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. How do you see this one going out, Dane?
Cowboys are going to lasso the Raiders, and it's not going to be nice for them.
I reckon Cowboys put 30 plus on them nearly.
Yeah,
big win for the Cowboys.
Cowboys have a real good start to the season, and the Canberra Raiders unfortunately have a poor start to the season.
Yeah, I think this next game probably potentially game of the round. Sharks versus Rabbitohs. How do you see that one going?
Oh, that'll be a good game. Where's that being played at?
Points bet, so Shark Stadium.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say the Sharks anyway. Now I'm definitely going to say the Sharks. I think I agree. Match of the round, really good game. I can see the Sharks winning 1-12. Sort of, it'll be a close game, a good game. I can see Latrell doing a lot, being real good. But I think the Sharks get the win.
So I'm going to take the Rabbitohs for the fact that Nico Hines is out, and that's a huge loss.
I didn't think about that. Nico Hines is out. That's a good point.
So we're going against each other again. Rabbitohs. One of us is either going to go really good or really bad in tipping this week. This one,
we might just go half.
Yeah, and we'll both get 4. Okay, Dolphins versus Roosters. I think this one's pretty obvious. It's at Suncorp for the Dolphins' first ever game. But yeah, what do you think's going to happen?
Roosters. I think not much more to say. The Roosters. The Dolphins, I've got not a bad side. I'm excited to see how they go. I'm going to be following the Dolphins real closely this season. And I hope they do well, but I've made my opinion clear on how I think the Roosters are going to go this year. I can't see the Dolphins doing too much, and I don't think it's going to be very pretty.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough ask first up to get for the Dolphins to get the Roosters. It's like a team that, as you said before, haven't won much the last couple of years, and they're probably just can't. 2020 or 2021 had a lot of injuries. It just nothing really clicked for them. 2022.
Can I ask as well? What's the idea of the Dolphins playing half their home games at Suncorp? Why don't they play all their games at Moreton Daily Stadium?
To get more tickets and get more revenue for the Dolphins. That's literally it. It's just shit.
They won't fill the stadium.
No, it's dumb.
They'll fill the stadium more at KO Stadium than they would at Suncorp.
100%. And it takes away from the identity of the club as well. I hate it.
It's fucking stupid, man. I don't like it.
Me either.
All right, let's
Roosters by 50. And to the absolutely ridiculous game on Sunday, 6 p.m. Can't wait to watch this one. Tigers versus Titans.
My tip, who cares? I think, I don't know. Titans, I think. Titans is impressed in the trials.
Yeah.
Do the Tigers, did John Bateman get named or not?
No, he's not playing this week.
Yeah, no, Titans, I think.
Exactly. I love how these teams have both made a lot of moves in the offseason. All the fans are excited, but we're still sitting here. You look at it and just go, Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares? Yeah.
Like they played a game that was like what 6-4 last year or something ridiculous like that. Like, bleh.
Yeah. No, I'll have to get drunk to watch that one.
Yeah. And lastly, Dragons versus the buy 13 plus.
They're the only team that could lose to a bye.
Yeah. I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Let's just give me a quick best bet. I haven't thought about any either, but let's just give the punters something to dabble on.
Okay. What are the games again?
So we got Eels versus Storm, Warriors versus Knights, Panthers versus Broncos, Manly versus Bulldogs, Cowboys Raiders, Sharks Rabbitohs, Dolphins Roosters, Tigers Titans.
Okay, let's go to the Panthers Broncos game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have the Panthers head to head. Panthers 1-12 win.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have Stephen Crichton anytime try scorer, Brian Toto anytime try scorer. Let's multi that together.
Very nice. I'll put the odds on the screen. My one, I'm gonna do a bit of a Sunday multi. I'm gonna take Roosters 13 plus with Daniel Tupou to score a try.
Yep.
In rolling that into the Titans game, I think they get the win head to head, and Cam Pereira scores on debut.
Okay, that's a good bet. I like that bet. That's better than mine.
You know, like a little like head to heads basically, and a winger to score. It's like pretty kitties, and it's probably going to pay a fair bit because there's 4 legs in there. So fingers crossed for that. But I think, unless you have anything else you want to talk about regarding the football this week, that'll do us.
Yes. No, I think I'm happy with that.
Beautiful. So thanks for listening, guys. How good's the footy being back? Hopefully your team gets the win. And yeah, fingers crossed for a good season of footy. I think it's going to be a pretty good one.